Do you want more? More time, more balance, more love, more sex, more money, more real, and less bullshit? This is the Women Wanting More podcast with Dr. Karen Osborne. Real life, real stories, plus real tips to get you more of what you want.
Sister, if you feel like crying, maybe that's because you should actually cry. I don't know what happened in our world that we started to believe this bullshit ideal, saw it as an ideal, that in order to be strong, even as a woman, to be strong means you can't fucking show your emotion. It means you gotta tough it up, right? Even for a lot of women, I know that maybe tends to be a little bit more of a male trait, but I've been most of my lives, probably my past lives, I don't know, that'll be a different episode, but most of my life I've been very kind of alpha, very male energy. I grew up with two older brothers. I've always been in male-dominated kind of professions. That's just the way it's often gone, and it's also been my choice. So I felt who I am. And it's not that I never cried before or didn't get upset or anything like that, but it's like a lot of that stuff was just, oh, mother of God. does your city have a cajillion construction things going? I love my city. I live in Victoria, but holy fucking shit, I can't go 2 blocks without there being a detour somewhere. Here we go. Here's another one. As I'm recording this podcast, I'm driving to Starbucks to do some work this morning after I dropped off my kids at school. Expressing emotion, right? Expressing an emotion, expressing feelings in a way that feels very vulnerable. You know 2 words that I think need to fucking leave the language that we speak of in our society? Women will say this, the ugly cry. I know what that means. You're like, my face gets all contorted and I don't look nice, I don't look pretty. Who gives a flying shit what you look like when that happens? Really, who cares about that stuff? Who cares? Because when you cry, it is a way for you to express and get things out, right? It is called a good cry for a reason also. There's also a reason why you feel good after you cry. You get that out. But what I feel that often happens is that if we allow ourselves to cry and let it go, that we let it go, but we leave some in the tank. Because I don't want to completely let myself go, because if I do, oh my God, I'm going to be like this. Here's other words we've heard of. A blubbering mess. I'm going to be, this sloppy, messy, out of control. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's feeling that we don't want to lose control. But sister, I got fucking news for you. You got very little control in your life. Very little control in your life. You can think you have control. You can try to enforce control. Good luck with that one. I did that for years, and I'm still working very hard to let go of a lot of the stuff, and it's simply to trust and surrender. But my thought is that when we do actually cry and express and get some of those things out, that we don't let it all out. So this morning, I drop off my boys at school. They just started school this week, and this is the first morning that I've had both my boys. So my little guy Kai, he's 5. He just started kindergarten. So yesterday they had a half day in the afternoon. This morning they have a half day. It's Friday, and then he starts full-time Monday. They can almost do a little graduated transition into kindergarten. And so it was the first morning having both the boys dropped off. And there was a little bit of a thing yesterday with the teacher, something she said about Kai. And, I have 2 challenging boys. It's what is. To be honest, I fucking wish I didn't have this some days. It's fucking hard. If you see a mother who's struggling, by the way, with their kids, then you don't have that, number 1, good for you. You must have a horseshoe up your ass. And number 2, show her compassion, because the judgment and shit that I experience at times is brutal. They don't have to say anything. I see eyes. Very good about reading people. I'm very intuitive about thoughts and feelings that I can vibe from other people, and I pick it all up, and that's a good thing, and it's a bad thing when it comes to situations like this. So because of that, I was a little nervous about dropping off Kai this morning. And, there's a bit of a mix-up of where I'm supposed to stand. They line up, and apparently it was supposed to be the library, and it was not a good drop-off this morning. Wrong shit in bags, and, I have everything organized and stuff, but I'm still, whatever kind of stuff that's happening with me, inside of me, this, what I refer to this breakdown, breakthrough, spiritual awakening, thank you, Brene Brown, whatever. Okay. Oy vey. Drive around the parking lot. Everyone's got some different rules. What is the lesson? Hey, what is the lesson? So after I drop them off and text my husband, I'm just like, what the fuck? Everything just feels, and this isn't just from today. There's been a lot of things. And I'm still feeling like I feel very, I hate to use this word, but here we go, fragile. I don't feel like I have the same confidence and sense of self and who I am. And so these things that might seem like little things, and you might go oh, Karen, it's no big deal. Everybody gets shit mixed up, and it's okay, it's no big deal. And then I had Kai on this certain line. He's going on with the kids. I'm like, okay, Kai, because then I forgot to get Tyson's school supplies. This is the one day. They're kind of, anyways, I won't go into the big thing of how it works at our school, but today they need their school supplies. And I was still holding the bag when Tyson went to play in the playground. It's a different thing when I've got 2 kids to drop off, 2 kids to pick up. I got 2 to keep track of, both 2 very energetic and rambunctious boys. I kind of keep my eye on them a bit. And so then I can see that there's parents have kind of just left the kids in the line. I'm like, okay. I'm like, hey, Kai, have a fun morning. Okay, bye, mommy. I go drop off the school supplies in Tyson's classroom. I come back out, and he's not sitting at his desk either. I'm like, oh, dude, buddy. The kids are all, he's like, mommy, I'm hungry. I'm like, dude, we had breakfast. We had a snack. All right. Just please listen to your teacher kind of thing. And then left the room and go back and see Kai. And Kai's just kind of wandering around. He's not with the right class. And they're like, oh no, you got to go in here. And they're pointing into an empty room, and he's 5 in a fucking school. And I'm like, what is going on here? I was pissed. Oh no, we're supposed to be in the library. I'm like, I thought we were supposed to line up today. I'm like, did I fucking get that wrong too? So then finally get him situated, and he walks into his classroom, and I watch him walking, and I'm like, because Kai he's definitely head in the clouds kind of kid. He would wander off. I'm like, okay. And this is a good school. This is not to knock my school. It's just, whatever is happening today and yesterday with his teacher and whatever. And so then I get in the car and text my husband. I'm just like, fuck. And I vox my good friend. I'm just like, fuck. I just feel like there's so many more tears to come out. And I can go to the place of okay, what's, my husband's like, okay, well, I can drop off the kids. And I'm like, no, that doesn't work, because you need to work. You need to have this time and space. We've done this before. Then you find your work starts to suffer, and then you feel you have to work at night. I'm like, that doesn't work. And there's this kind of this, I know as much as he's saying, no, it's fine. I know it won't be fine in a couple of weeks, and then there'll be resentment. I'm just like, nope, I have to deal with this. I appreciate it. And then, my good friend is leaving me, she's like, well, leave me lots of good strategies, and try this and try that, and it's okay, and all this stuff. And I'm like, yep, that all makes sense. I still feel like I want to wallow in my own fucking misery right now. And what I think I really mean by that is I still feel like there's a lot of emotion to come out. Even as I record this podcast, I'm holding it back a little bit so I can get the words out at least. But it's not complete. And I think that's why things like, well, let me help out, and here's a different plan, and check into this. It's just it's kind of, it makes sense logically, but my heart's rejecting it right now. By the way, if you're ever wondering between should I go over what my head is telling me or what my heart is telling me, always heart. And what heart is really telling me is dude, you need a fucking couple days to just sit and cry. Just to get it out. And, this is me who meditates every day and moves my body, and I journal, and I get these things out. But, sometimes that well is deep, sister. Who are we to judge what it is? 3.5 months ago, I was in this place where I'm just I don't know what the fuck's going on anymore. And I find myself at times, although having some clarity versus 3.5 months ago, there's still a big piece of me that's just Moments like today where I'm like, I don't fucking know. What has happened over the last 3.5 months? Feels like nothing. Feels like it's just been crisis control. Putting out fires, kids' camps, school stuff with my husband and I, stuff with me, stuff with my health. Like, damn it, you know? The deep can be well. The deep can be well. How ironic is that? The well can be deep. Deep, deep, deep. And it's not up to us to say, well, it shouldn't, or I should be done, or I should be over this. Your feelings are your feelings, and if you're not, you're not. And, you know, it's funny because, like, a piece of me kind of goes into coach mode for myself and says, well, wait a second, I must be getting something from this. And I'm like, I don't know, what am I getting? Attention? Not really. Like, I don't want that anyways. I don't want to feel like I have to rely on people to lift me up every day. That doesn't feel good to me. There's actually not anything good. It's just simply this feeling of like, I don't feel like I can stop it. And perhaps there's a reason behind that. And so if you're feeling that too, sister, of like, I can't stop these emotions, perhaps that's because you're not supposed to. Perhaps that's because inside you know that you need to release these things. And it could be tears, and it could be anger. And it could be, I don't know, what would be something else that needs to be released? Maybe you need to scream. That's still kind of anger though. We're going to say either anger or tears, because those are two things I find that women suppress and judge themselves about a lot. But I want you to hear this, sister. If you feel like there is still like a lot of tears inside of you need to let go of, like take that time for you. I don't care if it's like you set, maybe you're like, I only have 5 minutes and then I got to get myself together in 10 minutes and then head into work or something. Then okay, I guess set a timer or whatever, but you got to get that shit out. You know, if you have kids, that feeling or that cry that they would do after if they really, really cried. I remember reading this in a book one time, and there was this woman who wrote the book, and she was like British, and she called this, it was like a heart fluffle or something, but it would kind of go like this, like they're done crying, then they go, like there's like this like breath, this like release, right? It's almost kind of like I'm done, and to her that was her to kind of describing like, you know, they're done with the crying or the tears or the tantrum. Like, you kind of got to wait for that. I think it was called like a heart fluffle, like just. So if you need to take the time you need to do to get to that spot, to feel like you're done. And yeah, I know we've all had that time where we feel like either the anger's all out or the sadness all out or the pain is all out. And you're like, okay, I got that out now. Like, it feels good. I feel better. So here's your more tip for today. Because I'm telling you right now, there's a lot of you, even if there's anger going on, the thing is beneath most anger is sadness. And I want you to give yourself permission to just fucking cry. Just let it out. Right now if you want. Right now if you want. Strong people cry. Strong women cry. Strong women show their emotions. Strong women are not afraid of what other people think. You can still feel the judgment. You can still feel the stuff, but it doesn't change who you are. So whether it's now or sometime in the next 24 hours, I want you to give yourself permission to cry. Maybe you're still need to cry and let go of a loss, a breakup, someone that you've lost, a death, frustration that you're feeling, worries about your kids, like challenges in your marriage, challenges with your health, whatever it is. Like, you don't have to keep fighting the good fight every single fucking day, sister, and putting up the front. I know there's a lot of you that put up the good front. It's suffocating, isn't it? I know you go and then you drink at night, nobody sees, and you eat food and nobody really knows, and you do whatever that numbing thing is for you. Strong women cry. They probably cry more than you realize. And you need to release and let that out. Let it out, let it out. It's not serving you to keep it all bottled up inside. Next 24 hours, take some time and cry. So, sister, the book that I am hopefully getting back to next week when there's a little bit more like real routine back with family stuff and commitments, to get back to writing my book. And I still have plans that'll be coming out sometime in the fall of this year of 2018. So to make sure to get the first heads up and to get the More for Action Guide, how to start your day in power, with the training video and 3 other videos to really help you to drop your stories, create new ones, remember who you are, as well as get every single podcast episode with all the show notes resources. You know, times I've given you ones like the one I'm going to give you now. You're like, what's that web address again? Like, what's that URL? Like, I can't remember. You will just get it. They'll be there in your inbox. Easy peasy. You can just click on the links of things that I have as resources. And by the way, I always, if you're new or maybe not new, but you're like, there's 500 and something episodes. How come there's only so many on iTunes? Because iTunes only holds 400 at a time. And so right now we're at 564 or 5 or something like that. And so you won't see all of them unless you go to the website. But guess what? With all of the show notes, I put in 3 related episodes. And so these are some back to the double digits, the hundreds, 200s, 300s, 400s. If you're new to the podcast, again, you might not be aware of some of this, the past episodes. And so I also have on every single show notes 3 episodes that are relevant to the one you just listened to. So you can get even more out of it. So to make sure to get all of this good stuff, I want you to over right now to drkarenosburn.com, drkarenosburn.com/action guide. Enter in your email, and you'll be part of the Women Wanting More tribe and get you hooked up on all that good shit today. So I'll talk to you next episode, sister. A life of more is one step away from you being real, being you, and letting things out. Letting those tears flow. Sometimes, every single day. I love and appreciate you.
To get the show notes of each Women Wanting More episode, including the How to Get More tip, subscribe to the newsletter at drkarenosburn.com/newsletter.